Good morning. For episode 8, I have an update on the 30-day sketchbook challenge with a time lapse of doing this sketch and of a new project trying out fabric paint on a shirt. So I did Mr. Peabody here, which some of you might remember from the old Rocky and Bullwinkle show, which was a favorite of mine. But I like this motto or philosophy of learn something new every day. I think it's good for life in general, and then in particular it can be applied to doing artwork. So speaking of that, I have an art tip on using toned paper. The newest 4 prompts I've done for the challenge are boats and bones and your favorite shop. I sketched at my library. I figured it's like a great bookshop where the books and things are free to borrow. The other prompt I did recently is something on the table, and I decided to sketch this little samurai figurine that technically sits on the piano, but I figured that's close enough. I'm using toned gray paper and a tinted charcoal pencil to lightly sketch in the basic outline of the figurine. And I'm looking at things like comparing the size and shape of the head compared to the torso, compared to the legs, the little shield thing that he's carrying, but basically getting in a light pencil sketch to start with. Here I'm starting to add some of the color and then also putting in the whites and blacks. Like I mentioned when doing the German Shepherd portrait, it helps me to get in the whitest whites and the darkest darks from the beginning. It helps to compare the value, the lightness or darkness of the other color areas. And this shows adding more color and using the blending stumps. Those are those gray pencil-shaped things. They're made of tightly wound paper, and it helps to blend and burnish the charcoal and the pastel pencil, etc. Burnishes it into the paper. The toned paper and tinted paper are meant for dry media. And for the sketches that I did, I used charcoal pencil, tinted charcoal, and pastel pencils, and conte crayon, which is kind of like a waxy chalk. And then blending stumps help with blending and with working the charcoal, etc., into the texture of the paper. I think you can hopefully see the texture. This is the pastel paper, and I think this one shows best the texture, but the toned gray and toned tan also have some tooth, some texture to them. This shot shows how, compared to white paper, by using the toned paper, you're starting with a middle value, and from there you can go both lighter and darker. So in this case, I mean, it's a white mug, but really I only put in white, small white areas where there was highlight, light reflecting, and the rest was various midtones down to really dark for the shadows and the cocoa. And then another reason I liked using the toned paper for some sketches is, besides the middle value, it can give you a head start on colors. So in this case, the toned tan made it easier to put in the skin tones. That would have been a lot more work working on white paper than it was on toned tan. And for this sketch, by picking a blue tinted paper, was easier to put in the blue towel, easier than it would have been on white paper. And yet I could still go lighter for the eggs, and then of course darker for the shadows. So since I'm so close to the end of the sketchbook challenge, I've been thinking of new things to do and tried this fabric painting project. And I learned that while the white shows up great against the darker shirt, the green did not. So I added a bit of white and yellow to it, redid the lettering, and that helped it show up better. Well, I hope the art tip on using toned paper was helpful and that you learned something new. In which case, thanks very much if you could give that like button a boop. As far as the 30-day sketchbook challenge goes, I am now down to just one prompt left to do, and it'll be some sort of white critter. We'll find out what in the next episode, maybe the one after that. And then other projects that'll be coming up in future videos is I want to do more of the fabric painting and make my own t-shirts. And then the duplicate stitch project is on hold until I find a sweater that's going to work. But that is definitely going to be a project coming up. So I think that does it for this video. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.